So many different times in my life, I've played with broken or hurt things, broken foot, broken leg, broken hand, broken arm, broken sternum, broken collarbone. I could keep going if I just thought more about bones. Why, man? Because I loved it. I loved playing the game. I was passionate about it. One of the reasons I even get encouraged at seeing all of you here. Do you know why I get encouraged by that? Is because you could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you. And they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zuttner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
All right, we're talking today about managing the media with public relations fundamentals. Managing the media with public relations fundamentals. In the world of public relations, finding the media outlets to send your press releases and other PR materials to so that you can reach your target audience is absolutely crucial. You have to be able to go out there and find the right media outlets to send your press releases to. So you really need to do your research and dig in to find out who you need to send those press releases to, or you're going to fall on deaf ears. Let me give you an example. Right now we're in Chicago and we're meeting with a reporter. She covers specifically massive online open classrooms. She covers MOOCs. She covers education. The other day, I spoke with a gentleman at a major national news station who specializes in covering he specializes in teaching entrepreneurship. So anybody from coast to coast who writes a story about, or anybody who is running a business or is doing something related to teaching entrepreneurs, he's the one who writes stories about that. And this person's the person who writes stories about massive online open classrooms. So wouldn't it make sense to only send the press release to the reporters who even write these kinds of stories? Because you know, in the news, certain reporters specialize in certain areas, right? So just like in accounting, there's accountants that specialize in business accounting, other accountants that specialize in personal accounting. There's lawyers out there that specialize in a certain kind of litigation. There's athletes that specialize in certain areas in certain sports. The writers specialize on covering a certain kind of news story. So this person only covers stories about entrepreneurs, and this one only covers stories about massive online open classrooms. So it makes sense for us to only contact the people that have the ability to write the kinds of stories that relate to our business. All right, so we're moving in here. So step number 1, Step number 1 is we want to build a personal contact file. Build a personal contact what? File. Build a personal what? Contact file. Now, how many people should be in this list? Dream 100. So how do you do it? You need to Google the industry you're in and the name of the publication and see who covers those stories. So you need to Google Wall Street Journal and then entrepreneurship and see who writes about those stories. You need to Google, if you're a company that hires and specializes in staffing, you'd want to write, if you lived in Des Moines, you'd put Des Moines Staffing and then put the name of the local publication you want to be featured in. But the way you do it is you Google search the publication plus the specialty or focus, and you want to find the reporters who cover this area. Now again, this reporter, their job is to cover this area. So they want to be somewhat reachable because they want people to know how to get in touch with them. They don't want to miss out on the scoop. They don't want to miss out on the story. They don't want to be late to hear of new information. So they want people like you to contact them to tell them about a story idea that you have. So we want to make sure we reach these people. Now, here's the thing. How do you know when somebody on your Dream 100 list counts as a good contact? It's when they will take your call and they will listen to your idea because they know your name. When they will take your call and listen to your idea because they know your name. If you don't know someone's name, do you really know them? If you see somebody and you see them at church or you see them at work and you kind of go, hey, dude, hey, guy, hey. I'm sure that never happens to you. But I find myself all the time seeing people that I don't really know. They're called acquaintances. And you say, hey, how are you? And it's because you don't really know their name. What you want to do with the media, though, is they want to take your call, and they want to listen to your idea because they know your name. That's what I'm talking about when we say build a personal contact file. Now, principle number 2. We want to have follow-up. Follow-up. So what you want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you drip. It's called drip marketing. But when you send these people a press release, that's step 1. So you send the press release to their email address, which you can get off the internet very quickly off of the website where they produce content for. So if I'm a writer for Inc. magazine or the Wall Street Journal or the Tulsa World or the Louisville Courier Journal, whatever publication it is, you can usually find my email on the website, okay? We want to send them a press release, but the second thing is we want to call to follow up. Now, here's the rule. 1 voicemail and then just keep calling. I would say a maximum of 10 times, but I would only leave 1 voicemail because reporters are very, very busy. Imagine what it would be like every single day to wake up and know that you have to write a story, have it fully edited, have all the research done, and have it ready to go to print that day. Little stressful. So these people are working. They have to turn their phones off so that they can focus on writing. Imagine what it would be like if your whole job was focused on writing a story that had to be air-free, that was going to be shown in front of millions of people, And you have to get it done every day after, by the way, doing all the research needed to make sure that your article was in fact factual. That's a little stressful. So these people do get off the radar from time to time. And so the thing is, you want to send them the press release, but you want to call them to follow up at least 10 times and leave one message. All right? Now the third is you want to become the expert. Okay? So number 3, you want to become their expert go-to guy. So if they're doing an interview, if they're doing an article, or if they're doing a story and they ever need an expert, so over here they're doing a story and they need an expert to come in and talk about it, you want that person to be you. All right? You want to become the expert. Let the press know that you're an expert in your field. Let them know you are. Send them over your bio. Send them over your story. Let them know what you specialize in so that they can call you when they need to have somebody interviewed about the story. That's what you need to do. You need to be able to be the expert person. Now, real quick, a self-assessment. Would you consider yourself to be an expert? I mean, when you look at yourself, do you scream credibility? If you feel like you dress a little sloppy and you don't look sharp and you really don't know your stuff, then don't think the media is going to all of a sudden think that you're hot stuff. You need to make sure that you look the part, all right? You want to look the part, act the part, be the part. Okay, so you might have to go to a tailor, get a suit made. You might have to go ahead and go to the store, get yourself a suit. You might have to get a new haircut. You might have to get some pro headshots done. I'm going to make a list of all the things you need, by the way, to become an expert with the media. Okay? 1 is you need a PR kit. And we'll have Thrive episodes about what a PR kit is. Okay, you have to do that. You want professional headshots. You want to have a professional bio made. And the final thing that you want to do is you want to be able to articulate your expertise. You want to make it where you can quickly explain to people what it is that you know, what you're an expert on. Make sense? So I used to be in the wedding industry, and I was always considered to be a wedding expert. So anytime they ran a story about the bridal association or the wedding industry, they said, here we are with Clay Clark, founder of the Tulsa Bridal Association. Boom. Now we talk about weddings. Now I'm Clay Clark, Entrepreneur of the Year, here to talk about entrepreneurship. Okay? But we want to make sure that we're clearly defined as the expert in the area that we want to be called about, and we want to be featured on. Does that make sense? So if you have if they're writing an article today about the wedding industry, we want you to be the expert that they call. How do you do that? Do these things. Moving here on to principle number 4. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Number 4. Don't what? Don't limit yourself. A lot of times I see entrepreneurs, they say, man, I just want to get featured in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Inc. magazine. I just want to be in some of these top publications, Forbes. Well, the problem is that if you're Wall Street Journal, do you want to feature an unknown person in your newspaper? Probably not. If you're the Forbes, do you want to feature somebody who no one else has featured before as the headliner? No. Forbes is trying to do what? Educate, but also they're trying to sell subscriptions. They're not going to sell subscriptions if they put a bunch of unknowns on the cover of their magazine. So you want to make sure that you start off by focusing on a wide approach. So you want to focus on your local media, okay? That'd be ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CW, TV. We want to do print. That'd be magazines and papers. And then the third one, we want to do any blog features you can do. And then you want to do radio. Okay? So we want to go ahead and get featured on a lot of different things so that ultimately the media on a national level will be more likely to actually cover your story. That's how you're going to do it. You have to be able to make sure you start wide so they can feature you in these core areas so you're more likely when if I'm a Wall Street Journal reporter and I'm thinking about covering you and writing a story about you, I'm going to Google you. And when I Google you, I've got to find some things about you beyond just what you say about you. I've got to find some kind of features. So we need to make sure we get that local media attention. We start a little wider, and then over time as we grow, we can become a little bit more narrow focused.
1 5.
Now, principle number 5 is we want to offer an exclusive. You ever heard them say, only on channel 6 tonight? Whoa. They say, only on channel 6 tonight. Or they'll say, exclusive. We have the exclusive story on NBC. The whole idea is they're competing for viewers. And if they have a story or a news event that nobody else has, they're more likely to get people like you and me to watch. So if we can offer an exclusive and we can say, hey, when you talk to the reporter, hey, I'm going to give you this news release and I will not share it with anybody else. You're the only people that I will share it with if you'll cover the story. And they say, sure. You say, you have my word. I will not send a press release out to anybody else if you'll cover my story. And they say, yeah, let's do it. So you want to offer an exclusive. You want to offer the editor or the writer or the reporter an exclusive. And a lot of times that really does go a long way. Years ago, I used to work with a company called Canbar Properties. And Maurice Canbar is the guy who owned at one point 1/3 of downtown Tulsa. He literally owned 1/3 of downtown. All the big, sky rises and all the big fancy downtown buildings. He was the guy that owned almost 1/3 of all of downtown Tulsa. So this big skyline here, he had 1/3 of it that was all his. And so people were always wanting to do an interview with him. Well, because I was working with him, I was able to arrange an exclusive interview with him with the Tulsa World and Channel 6. And they loved doing the story on him. And that was an exclusive, which got us more coverage than we could have gotten if we would have sent it out to everybody. So you want to have that exclusive from time to time. All right? So principle number 6. Principle number 6. We want to go where the cameras are. Go where the cameras are. So if the media is already going to cover an event, let's say the media is going to cover a big election. Well, if your company set up a food truck out front of where the media is and you started giving away free sandwiches to everybody at the election event, you have a higher probability to be featured in the news. If there is a huge, just megawatt event going on, you want to be a part of that. So I guess a good example would be, this is a fabulous one here for you. Domino's always gets national TV attention because what they do is anybody who's waiting on April 15th to file their taxes, anybody who's in the post office waiting to send their send their mail packet to the IRS saying, oh, this is the last possible day I can pay my taxes, here I go. Domino's is there giving free pizza to people in line. So Domino's gives free pizza to people in line, right? They give free pizza to people in line. They do this consistently. Free pizza to people in line who are doing their taxes on April 15th. So by giving away free pizza, they are essentially getting free publicity. I guess there's a certain cost with pizza, but the idea is they're going where the cameras are. The camera is already shining right here. I mean, this is where the lights are already focused right here. This camera is already right here. So Domino's just hops right into it, and boom, they get national media coverage. coverage. All right. Principle number 7. This is huge. I want to make sure that if you don't get this, you're going to miss the whole thing here, okay? This is not a product pitch. When you talk to the media, you're not there to pitch your product. When we meet with the Wall Street Journal, they're not going to write a story about our product because that would be called an advertisement. They're not going to write just stories about companies and say, well, here's a company, here's how it works, here's what they do, buy their stuff. They're not going to do that, okay? If anything, it'll be kind of a rude interview where they're trying to find out why it doesn't work. What's wrong with it? Why hasn't it come out yet? If this is such a good idea, how come someone else hasn't done it? What's the catch? They're going to try to get into that stuff, okay? But the media only cares about whether your story will actually interest the viewers and the readers. So all the media cares about is, will your story cause their viewers and readers to say, wow. Will that happen? Because if it does cause the viewers and readers to say, wow, then they're going to cover it. If it does not cause the viewers and readers to say, wow, then it will not cover it. So it's absolutely super duper important that you understand that your story has to cause the viewers and readers to say, wow. Whatever the story is. If it doesn't follow those rules we talked about earlier, you're not going to get covered. They're not going to just talk about your product. So I see people all the time saying, well, we have something on sale. That's called an ad. That's not a story. Our company's opening up our second location. Again, not a story. That's an ad. The story is, here is a story about a company despite a challenging economy that's growing, and they're bringing 10 new jobs to Tulsa. The story is, here's a guy who built the world's largest lemonade stand in front of his company. What it is a story is, here's a local Tulsan and a mortgage expert talking about the national home buyer tax credit. We have to have a story because if the story attracts viewers and readers, then they're going to be more and more likely to cover it. And that is super important. Now, principle number 8, the final principle that we have to learn and we have to get here is we have to remember, we cannot forget that the media is our buyer. Now, let's pretend for a second that your name is Amanda and you work for NBC News. How many people a day are trying to send you stories? Is it one business that would like to be featured in the news, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5? Try thousands. Thousands of people are trying to get the attention of the news, trying to be featured in the news constantly. This endless stream of people competing, wanting to be in the news. So, are they going to cover a story that's just an ad? We talked about it. I mean, their job is, the only reason that they write stories at all is because they're trying to write things that would be of interest or value, right? Interest or value to the actual viewers. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make a story that the viewers and readers would want to watch and that could help them in some way. They want to write stories that can be of importance and that can help people. Maybe they can give them a weather tip so they can avoid bad weather, or help them save money for college, or they can help them grow their business, or they can help them with their health care. They're trying to provide a service for the community. That's what the news is all about. The news is not about featuring your company on the news. Again, their goal is to have thousands of people who are actually watch the news, right? And then if they have enough people watching the news, they can then sell ads to you. So the fact that you're a business and you're trying to get in the news is kind of weird. So you have to come up with a story. So here's the thing, is that the media wants stories, and we have to sell them on the stories if we want them to feature it. We have to convince them that our story is, in fact, relevant enough for them to cover and that the viewers would love it. We have to convince them, hey, the viewers are going to love this story because, hey, the readers of this magazine are going to love this story because this is why they're going to love it. And because we followed those rules we discussed earlier, the rules of the big visuals, the juxtaposition, the celebrity, the power story, becoming an expert, focusing on being different, having a cause or a charity event, they are absolutely going to love it if we sell it to them. But there's a certain amount of sales here, persuasion. You have to convince people. Does anyone want to write a story about someone who sounds bored? No. Does anyone want to write a story about somebody who sounds like, well, our company's going to be doing a big old charity event and it should be okay? No. They want to write a story about something that's going to be awesome, that the viewers are going to love. They want their news anchors to say, tonight at 6 o'clock, we have an unbelievable story about a kid who is creating a business and a business plan using only his eyes. Stay tuned for the exclusive story here on Fox. Boom! That's what's going to get people to watch, right? They're going to say, tonight, we are joined here live with a scandalous story that's going to shock the nation. Stay tuned, tonight at 5. Boom! A story that's going to sell papers or sell subscriptions or just that the viewers and readers are going to love, all right? So when we get in front of these people, there's 3 sub-rules that we have to follow. Otherwise, the media is just not going to cover our story. 1 is we have to be newsworthy, or we have to get lost. Because if we finally do get Amanda on the phone with ABC News and we don't have a newsworthy story, she's going to remember us as being the joker who sent an advertisement to her. So we have to be newsworthy or we got to get out of here. All right? Newsworthy or unworthy. You have to be newsworthy or you have to get lost. The second is you need a professional press release. You can't just throw up a Hail Mary of a bunch of crap and expect it to get covered. You have to have a professional press release. And we'll have Thrive episodes that'll teach you specifically how to write a press release, but you have to have a professional press release. It has to happen. You can't have just something that you hand wrote and sent in. You can't have like a 9-page story that you send in. One lady I actually talked to about 3 years ago was hilarious. She was actually scanning her ads, and then sending in a press release that featured her ad. Over and over and over. She's mailing in her ad. Well, the media's not going to cover a story about her ad. You've got to have a story, and it's got to be professionally prepared. You can't have spelling errors all over that thing. Another person I talked to about 3 years ago, they had a business where they were literally sitting in press releases that had so many spelling errors, it was crazy. And they're like, I don't understand why the media is not covering it. You've got to be newsworthy, but it also has to be professional. And there's a system. You have, just like in college, there's a thing called MLA format. And you have to write papers usually in a certain set format in college. You can't just write them in your own format. There's a set accepted format when you write essay papers for college. At the same thing, there's a set professional format that you have to send press releases in. Those press releases have to come in that format. And the final thing is you want to keep your message short. 1 page only, please. 1 page only. You got to be 1 page. 1 page. It's got to be 1 page. 1 page? 1 page. How many pages? 1 page. Well, but my story is 2 pages. No. You're just trying to get the reporters, you're trying to pique their interest when you email them the press release and when you talk to them on the phone. You're not trying to share your whole company history and your whole bio and everything awesome in America. These people have a news story. Have you watched the news? Typical news story is what? How long? I mean, 10 minutes if it's out of control, if it's like the best story ever, if it's like if it's a story about Nelson Mandela and his life and how he liberated an entire group of people, he might get 10 minutes. Now, they're not going to write 10 minutes about a small story. They're going to give you maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes, so it's got to be short. 1 page or less, or it'll never get addressed, okay? 1 page or less, or it'll never get addressed. So let's make sure we remember this. The media is our buyer. We have to convince them that that our story is newsworthy, all right? But when we send the press release, it better be newsworthy or it's going to get lost. We have to make sure it's a professional press release. If it's not professional, they're not going to read it. And the third is we have to keep that message short. So in summary here, as we kind of wrap this up on Public Relations 101, there is a certain art and a certain nuance needed to get in front of your target audience with the help of the media. But remember, the media exists to help write compelling stories that the viewers and readers of these publications are going to want to watch. They're not in the news business to help you sell your product or service, and we can never forget that, okay? We've got to make sure we're writing newsworthy stories. If you have any questions or concerns, there's a guy named Levine, Levine, Levine. He's an author, and he wrote a book called PR 2.0. PR 2.0, his name is Levine, Michael Levine. Michael and Levine. He is phenomenal. There's a lot of supporting information he's written, and he's written several powerful books about PR. Now, I can tell you this. If you land a national news story, it could be worth millions and millions of dollars for you.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoa. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. Whoa. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn accounting, you want to learn sales systems, you want to learn how to build a linear workflow, you want to learn how to franchise your business, that is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshops. We have the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And someone says, Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. You're going to come. I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done his show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed to the business owner to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say. Whoa.